Welcome to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers, for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
Episode 13, a deeper look into socialization. So, just to give people a bit of practical advice as to what some of this looks like. Dogs typically aren't fully vaccinated till like 4.5-ish months, but and again, yes, be careful. Yes, take precautions. I don't want anybody's dogs getting hurt. It's just, you guys have to understand everything is, when we talk about context, again, every decision has its consequence. And I would rather get my dog, most of his shots and be careful, and just avoid things that would otherwise up their risk of contracting something from another dog, let's say.
Yeah, pretty much keep your dog away from grass and dirt where other dogs poop and pee on.
Right. Right. And that comes with a risk, yes, but so does not socializing your dog.
Yeah, I think it comes with a bigger risk, to be very honest.
Right. And a bigger, potentially a bigger risk to the dog too, because what happens to dogs who bite?
Yeah.
So I think a great way to do it, like in practical terms, if you've got a really young puppy, consider bringing them with you places in like a travel crate. They can be with you. They're there. People can say hi to them and stuff here and there, but when they're not feeling it, they're not feeling it. Don't force the dog. That's good, balanced socialization. When we talk about if you do want to introduce dogs together, because letting random dogs meet together on leash is like almost never a good idea. So if you do want to introduce dogs together, let's say your friend got a new dog and, consider going on walks together. Don't throw the dogs together. Just kind of be around each other and let the dogs slowly figure out who it is that they're around and how they feel about the other dog, and let them kind of come together on their own terms. If you've ever been in that position, my mom was one of those that we'd go somewhere and I was like a young kid and she'd see like a pretty cashier or something and she would just kind of play matchmaker, and it's weird, and
you're like, I'm 6.
Yeah. And but there's that feeling of shoving you two together, and it's not comfortable for either of you. So it has an adverse effect, if anything. Next time I see that girl, I'm embarrassed, even though I didn't do anything, and so.
Right. Thanks, Mom.
Right. But what I'm getting at is the way to get dogs to want to interact with other dogs is to give them that sense of, I'll do this on my own time. I'm not getting forced into anything. I have power here. So there's really no reason for me to be afraid.
Exactly. Create the circumstance, create the context for it to happen naturally.
Right.
And that's something too with human socialization. Pass the puppy is a very common, idea that's taught in dog training, and Ian Dunbar, who created it, it's a great idea. However, when you deal with really cute puppies and you deal with some people, they treat that puppy like it's a rag doll. So be very careful, right? Try and put your puppy on the ground. See if that puppy wants to interact with that person. Give that person treats and food to create motivation, so the dog kind of comes out of his shell and wants to explore more social interactions. But if that dog is constantly being held and carried and picked up and tossed around like a rag doll, that's where we start crossing the line into overstimulation, over-socialization, where what should be a very good experience can sometimes leave the dog with a bad taste in their mouth.
Right. I think that the best workaround to this, an easy way to simplify it, socialize your dogs young and start their obedience young. I mean, obviously, when we're talking a really young dog, 13, 14 weeks, they're only capable of so much. But I'm talking something just as simple as this. And it makes perfect sense when you consider, again, dogs feeling like it's up to them whether or not they want to engage with something versus being forced to. Something as simple as this. Oh, can I pet your dog? Sure, hang on 1 second. And with food, get a little sit out of them if you can. And then when you release the dog, the person is the reward. So they're not getting bombarded. And not only that, but the person is now represents I want that thing. I'll work for that thing. And so you frame things in a way that makes the person a positive experience. And the same could be said for other stuff. If dogs want to socialize with other dogs, I say that all the time. It's not that they can't. If they're willing to play, let's say the dogs know each other and we know that everything is good. Of course, I'm going to give the dog this playtime. I'm not going to deny him, but I'm going to let him work for it first. Sit, good, okay, go for it, break, So I think that goes a really long way. Just let your dog do something super simple to earn this person as a reward, and you'll start framing them. It's not so much an invader as it is yes, I've earned, here's my friend.
No, 100%. If we were going to break down basic phases, before 6 months, your goal is to create healthy interest in interacting with things and exposing them to things that could be provocational if they were older, right? So that's stage 1. Before 6 months, that's your goal. around 6 months is where we have to really start putting focus on obedience, interactions, manners, how to interact with dogs, how to interact, or actually even before that, we work with dogs, but definitely with humans, teaching sit stays, down stays, all of these things to be able to help get our dogs to understand how the way that they treat humans is very different than the way they need to treat dogs.
Right.
And that is something that continues for till the end of that first year of that dog's life. Because dogs will have a lot of feelings, a lot of different hormonal changes, and we want to continue that. So exposure, do all of that before 18 weeks up to 6 months for certain things, but the manners and the self-control have to be implemented before the dog becomes a preteen. So that's would always be my recommendation.
Yeah, 100%. I love it, man.
Cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, we really hope that this podcast on socialization was helpful for you. Again, this is a deeper look on dog socialization. Please go ahead and add me and Mariano on Instagram. Mariano is his Untamed Dog Co. That's Untamed Dog Co. And go ahead and add me on Instagram. It's Canis Behavior. It's all one word. Be sure to check back with us because we're going to be dissecting a couple more topics in the dog training industry to have a little bit deeper look. Also, subscribe, leave a review, leave some comments. We really want to get to know your guys' feedback on this. And also share it. If you guys find this to be interesting, please share it with your family, your friends, other dog lovers, other dog trainers. And go ahead and email us at dogtrainerspodcast@gmail.com. So that way we can go ahead and interact with you guys more. We're really excited. We really appreciate all the feedback we've gotten thus far. And again, my name is Brent. That guy over there is Mariano. And we will see you guys back again for episode 14. See you then. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers for dog trainers or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
We'll see you next time.